Chat. I wanted to create the boxing experience that you gotta wait until the main event, so this is why I'm late. But yeah, I'm watching boxing now. Interesting. It's I gotta say I can see it make a comeback, and by it I mean classic entertainment like sports, because everything on TV is shit, and everything that comes out in the realm of gaming is also shit, to the point where I'm struggling in thinking anything that came out this year that I can say, yeah, you know what, was a good product. I can see myself enjoying it 10 years from now. Like the only thing that I actually watched was Cobra Kai, and that was okay because it's Cobra Kai, but not amazing. Like there was nothing this year that came out which would have made me go, wow, man, such great storytelling. So if this keeps on, then you may get sports coming back. But if the Mike Tyson versus Paul is any indicator, then I would say sports is fucked as well. Like, what do we have? We have the Olympics that was an LGBT fest. I mean, I'm all for inclusion and shit, but not at the exclusion of anyone else. Like, there's not a single grandma in Eastern Europe that didn't watch the Olympics with a horrified expression. Like, they genuinely don't know, like, what was going on. And then you have, like, the boxing matches for women. You guys know how that ended up, you know, like the two runners up. So they're taking the piss when it comes to sports as well. They're taking the piss when it comes to actual entertainment. And then there's just nothing much to do. It's the only thing you can do is to piss off leftists on Twitter. Like, they're the smug ones that made this happen. So upsetting them is like the only type of entertainment people have. Like, unironically, like some of the most popular channels on YouTube are just people pissing on leftist entertainment, and they're making millions. Like, it's more profitable now to piss on Concord than to make Concord. So it would have been nice if V would learn to play an intro, because he's always in the middle of a. It would be nice, yes. Grandpa versus Zoomer, elderly abuse. See, the thing is, it's actually difficult to say if the fight was rigged or not. And here's my take on it. Let's look at the Jake Paul fight, right? So, at least the things that I'm allowed to show without getting copyright strike. Is it rigged? Is the question, right? Now here's what I think. Is it rigged in the sense that Jake Paul went to Mike Tyson and they orchestrated it, like they had the script and they were like, you're going to punch me this many times in the first round, I'm going to punch you that. No, I don't think that happened. I don't think it's fake like wrestling. But what people did notice is if that you take a look at the contract that they signed, it turns out that the more rounds go on, the more money Tyson makes. So if Tyson was to knock out Jake in the first round, he would have made almost no money. If he knocked him out in the second, he would have made a little bit more. And if he knocks him out at all, he loses money, right? So, like, if you're Tyson and you want to make money, the contract says that if it actually goes all the way till the ending, and at the ending you manage to, win by points, doesn't matter at that. Like, if you take it to the ending without knocking out Jake, that's how you make the biggest amount of cash. And that's in the contract from what I saw going around on Twitter. Unless people are showing a fake contract, but I don't think so because they haven't got fact-checked. Which, like, again, it's not fake in the sense that they agreed or, but it's like, don't knock him out. And if you're thinking like, oh shit, I shouldn't knock him out, then obviously you're going to play worse. Usually in boxing, from what I understand, you want to knock out your opponent as soon as possible. You don't want it to drag on, right? Because the more it drags on, the more likely it is that you gas out. The more likely it is that the other opponent gets an advantage. Kind of like the scene in Game of Thrones with the mercenary that's fighting a knight. And the knight, he's very powerful and he's got armor, but the mercenary just dodges the attacks, gets him to gas out, and then he wins, right? It's kind of what happened here, I think. That, like, obviously it's hard to tell, but what I did notice is that when I started watching, I hated boxing immediately. I was like, what is this boxing? Like, I want to watch the main event, and I have to watch two women fighting. It's like, why am I watching women getting beat up? It's not what I'm into. But then I regret saying that. Like, when I saw the actual fight with Tyson, I immediately regret saying that because the women fighting was far more impressive. Like, they managed to completely steal the show. Like, that was, okay, you know, compared to what I saw, all my misogyny was washed away from me. Like, all of a sudden, I forgot how to be a misogynist. I had respect for those women. And by the way, at the end of the fight, the women looked bloody, bruised. Some of them would require stitches, medical attention. And then you look at Jake Paul versus Tyson, and none of that is there, right? So, like, that was what I would say an actual match where two people are genuinely trying to win, versus a match where people are trying to drag it out to the last round. And take into account that, like, one of the conditions is to make the round shorter. Like, that was also interesting. Why would you have that? Yeah, the thing with Tyson's training videos, a lot of people are showing them to say, oh, look, this is why we think it's fake. Because, like, look how peak Tyson is in these videos. But if you look at the videos, they're like short clips that are put together. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of jump cuts. You know, basically, like, he could just have a burst of energy for like 5 seconds, then stop, pause for like 2 minutes, and then have like another take, right? Like, it wasn't a seamless take. So if it's not a seamless take, it could just be, well, that the images are arranged in such a way to make him look a lot more stronger than he is. Tyson had no legs. Yeah, this is what people are also saying. It's like he was like a fixed turret emplacement. You get close, you get punched, but yeah. Serrano versus Katie, whoever had everyone on the edge of their seats in the room was watching with family and friends, and we were glued to the seat. Yeah, no, like, seriously, I'm not. I feel bad for thinking ill of those ladies, because I was like, what is this? Like, show me the actual main event. Like, I came here to see Tyson versus Paul. And after seeing Tyson versus Paul, I was like, you know what? Those ladies, though, like, that was the event. That was the actual thing. Like, if I paid money to actually go there and watch it, and I would see Tyson versus Paul, without those ladies, I would feel robbed. With those ladies, like, well, at least I got to see an actual boxing match. But I want to talk a little bit about why I compared this with modern entertainment. When you look at what Hollywood is doing, and this is what I said on my other video, but I really want to address this because I think it's impactful, powerful, like they say. This is what Hollywood is constantly doing, right? It's like Indiana Jones. All right, let's bring Harrison Ford to play the role of an action hero. And Harrison Ford is like, what, 70? Let's get Keanu Reeves to play the role of an action hero. And again, Keanu Reeves is like, what, 60? Let's get Sylvester Stallone to play Rambo. And you have like all these action heroes, and it's like, dude, they're not in their prime anymore. Like, you need to cast someone that genuinely looks like someone that can be an action hero. Like, if I see them fight 5 or 6 dudes, they need to look as if they could fighting for 6 dudes. You don't get like, you know, I'm not saying that actors shouldn't act after a certain age. No, but like, they shouldn't be the main action hero. They should be the mentor, maybe like an evil genius, like you know, a secondary cast. But no, they insist on like having the old guys, and it's like, well, why can't you have someone new? And then you have someone new. You have the Jake Pauls, and the Jake Pauls, they don't rely on talent or skill. What they rely is on PR. Like, they're good enough to fit the part, right? Like, it's not like they're complete newbies. They do look the part, but they do rely on fakeness, driving the PR, all of this shit in their favor in order to get views. And they gotta be cheeky little shits to do it. This is why you have like actresses like Rachel Ziegler and a lot of other Hollywood cancer types that have like some of the most offensive takes imaginable, because that is the marketing. That is how they become the heel, if you will. Like in wrestling, you have the heel, like the person that everyone hates, and you just go to see the fight because you want to see them lose, right? And this is like what happens in Hollywood as well. You got these actors that everyone hates now, and by talking about it, by engaging in the discussion, you're making their videos and their movies and their names trend on Twitter. And there's no talent. Like it's not like people go to watch the boxing event because like Jake Paul is an excellent boxer and you want to see his technique and you're like, no, people go watch it because they want to see him getting beaten up. And it's the same thing with Disney and Hollywood. Like, people don't watch Snow White because they think like Rachel Ziegler is an amazing actress and she's going to perform the role perfectly and you can't wait to see how like her no, they go watch to own the Chads. It's like, the Chads hates Disney. I'm going to give money to Disney so that I own the Chad. This is literally 2024 sum up. You know, like, and then Disney panics and they're like, oh shit, no one wants to see our movie. Let's get Tyson. Let's get Tyson, and hopefully with Tyson, you're going to make Jake Paul more famous. It's everywhere. Rachel Ziegler should have started a genuinely original movie called Sandy Beach. Man, like, all of this reason for it happening is because of inclusivity. Like they genuinely state that you shouldn't cast a star, right? Like, what is a star? A star is a person that not only can act, but they're like phenomenal in what they do, right? Like the Hollywood actresses of old, like they would look absolutely drop dead gorgeous and amazing. And they could sing, like they had a great voice, they could display a wide range of emotion. Like, a star is like someone from the United States that has like 350 million people. You need to find out of those 350 million a star, like someone that's exceptional, someone that's excellent, to the point where people are willing to pay money just to see that person act. And that was the mentality, right? Like, you go to see this actress because she is fucking smoking hot. And she can act, and she can sing, and she can do anything. You know, like, she's the perfect embodiment of what a woman should be. And those were, but now it's like, no, they want the grocery store lady, the aunt mom, surrounded by cat piss to be represented. So, like, that's who they are going to put on the film now. They're going to put, like, the most average play-looking women, to the point that if you go to a McDonald's and you see the cashier, that cashier is more beautiful than anything Hollywood has casted in the last 2 years. So, this is the situation that and the only way that she can promote herself is if she's a cheeky little shit online. Like, she needs to be a cheeky little shit online and upset people so that people talk about her, because otherwise no one does talk about them. Like, why would anyone pay $70 to see average people that can barely act? You know, I'm looking at Emma Watson. Right? Like, she was supposed to be the coming star, and unfortunately for her, Emma Watson actually flopped in like 2, if not 3 movies. And after she flopped, no one wants to see her, right? So, like, this lady was supposed to be like the upcoming star. Like she was supposed to be the new Megan Fox. She was supposed to be, you know, like what, a brand name, basically. It's like, oh, it's Emma. You go to see the movie just because Emma is in it, right? That's how it used to work. I remember when I was a kid, it's like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing in this movie. I mean, I don't know what the plot is. I know nothing about it, but it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course I'll go see it. So, you look at her, and she was in Harry Potter. A lot of kids grew up with her, right? So, like, you have, like, that nostalgia. It's Emma Watson. It's in the Harry Potter movies. So, even if she plays in something else, you're like, well, you gotta see it. It's Emma Watson. But then you realize that she can't act for shit. Like, she's got just, like, 2, maybe 3 facial expressions, and that's it. Like, she can do happiness, she can do confused, and she can do resting bitch face. And that's pretty much, like, the wide range of emotions that she can show. And this is why finding a star is difficult. This is why, like, finding a person that can act is impossibly difficult. And why they used to pay a lot of money for people just to find individuals that are competent enough in order to be in a movie. So in the case of Emma Watson, I mean, yeah, okay, you know, like, she had the looks, but the acting skills weren't there. So, like, what she needs to do now is to be a cheeky little shit. She goes to the UN, talks about women, and talks about feminism, and, talks about all the shit, and then does all the activism, and I don't know if she did it, but she probably did, right? She told J.K. Rowling what she thinks about pronouns and shit. So that now, like, if people don't like her for acting, if people don't go to see it just because it's Emma Watson in a movie, they will go to see it to own the Chad. The Chads hate Emma Watson, so they're going to pay money to please the Chads, right? This is... Ugh. It's the culture we're stuck in, Chad. I think Luna's actress aged best. Yeah, but, like, the thing is, I also wonder, like, what happens with the actors that are good, right? Who plays Arya Stark? Maisie Williams, right? Maisie Williams. Unlike Emma Watson, Maisie can actually act. And the reason I'm saying this is that I've seen her display a wide range of emotions, right? She's also good looking. She doesn't have, like, any type of controversy attached to her. No, I think that Maisie Williams can actually act. And the question is, like, well, where is she? Why isn't she being casted? And it's a good fucking question. I don't know. Because there's a lot of people that would go out of their way in order to see a movie that has Maisie Williams in it. And I think that there may be several explanations for this. Like, number one, because she's not part of the clique, because she's not part of, like, whatever Hollywood sorority is there, they don't want to cast her in movies. Like, that could be one explanation. Another explanation could be the fact that she doesn't want to work with people. Like, maybe she doesn't like the culture. Maybe she doesn't like the individuals that are the gatekeepers. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's weird. Because you'd expect you'd see her in many movies. Like, she is incredibly popular. Everyone liked her. Everyone would probably go out of their way to see Maisie Williams starred in something appropriate. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ram. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Total Sora unalive. You made me into a superstar, Ram. The chick who works at the checkout at Kroger is unironically hotter than Emma Watson. Not every single female actress needs to be the sex bomb, okay? Like I don't expect every single one to be like 10 out of 10. And Emma Watson, I think, would be an 8 or a 7. But like with the professional makeup team, she can pull it off. But she can't act. That's the problem. Like, she literally can't act. She knows how to be, again, like, it's got like the surprise, the shocked expression, the angry, and the resting bitch face. And that's it. That's the amount of human emotions that she can convincingly display on camera. Jesus, she's 27 years old. She's almost as old as I am. Yeah, a lot of people, they look at Game of Thrones and they remember season 1 where she was just a kid. And that's your memory of her. But, like, no, unlike anime characters, actors do grow up. So, yeah, like, she's probably 27 now. Emma Watson is a 5 or a 6. You're not supposed to do that, by the way. Like, women aren't allowed to rate men based on, it's like, how much would you rate Elon Musk? Oh, it's a 7 or an 8, you know. Like, women aren't allowed to do that, but you as a man, you're not allowed to do it to women. I wonder, like, you know, some of the most misogynistic people on Earth are the judges at beauty competitions. Like, the amount of crimes against humanities they do, my God. I want to talk a little bit about the Haka. I saw that a lot of people are finding this to be very controversial. Right? So, this happened in the Maori parliament. It's powerful. Powerful, I've been told. Right. People were saying, oh, white people were so scared. I'm like, you need a little bit more than funny faces and dances to scare white people. When white people start goose stepping, the entire planet gets scared. So like, let's not even go there. Okay? Like let's have the conversation without going there. I don't mind the haka. I like the haka. I know it's weird. I know like some people are going to dislike what I'm saying because I know all the other right-wingers are saying other things. I don't mind the haka. I genuinely do not. It looks ridiculous. I know, but it also looks primal and cool. I like it. I don't fucking mind it. I don't think it's powerful though in this context. Because, like, what they were doing was they were filibustering, right? Like, they didn't want the legislation to pass. So they were filibustering. But it's not powerful. Like, powerful is that guy that placed his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, right? Like, he didn't kill anyone, didn't hurt anyone, he just puts his feet on the desk. He's showing disrespect, he's showing contempt. And he's getting in trouble for it, because that's the essence of powerful. It's like, powerful, it means that you're brave, right? Like, you're doing something that requires bravery. Doing something that has no consequence and doesn't put you in any danger is not powerful. It doesn't mean it's not right or wrong, or like, it just is something that's not powerful. So, yeah, I don't mind the haka, but I also don't think it's powerful. Now, within that context, right? If the Russians are coming and they're about to get decimated and they pull off a haka in front of the Russian military before BTFOing the Russian military, then that would be powerful. But anyway, right. This is what that act was about. In many countries, minorities manage to win certain concessions, right? So like they form various advocacy groups and they get protections. And for instance, if this is true, like I haven't seen it fact checking, but they get something that people get in Romania as well. Like for instance, schools that are only in the language, like Hungarians get this a lot in Romania, right? Like we got a lot of concessions for citizens that are Romanians, but they also have like Hungarian ethnicity, and because of activism, because of various political movements, they got a lot of perks, right? So it's similar to this, right? So they get language funding, radio and TV. We don't get that in Romania, but the ability, for instance, to learn about in Hungarian, I think it's already in. They get seats in parliament, right? Hungarians get this in Romania as well. They get local advisory committees. They get only prisoner programs, only positions on government agency, welfare initiatives, health initiatives, housing projects, education scholarships, right? And meanwhile, the white people get privilege. So the bill that was passed was supposed to be about equality. So it was supposed to remove all this, and they would get privilege as well. But that's why they got the haka, right? So I just wanted people to understand the full context. If you're from Kiwi land, if you're from New Zealand, and if I'm making a mistake with this, if I don't really understand it, let me know. Hello from California. Yeah, Jesus Christ, get out of there. It'd be cool for your hentai game to get endorsed by other hentai artists like Zone Tunes. Their picks. I do not know who those are, but I will look into it. Zone is an old name. Well, maybe that's why I don't know them. A kiwi is a small phyllous fruit that is to be shaved before you eat it. It's also a bird. As a kiwi, I'm pretty accurate. Well, there we go. I don't blame them, though. Like, look, if you're a political representative, you are going to fight for the people you're representing. And if they're going to lose privileges and perks that your ancestors fought for, like, of course you're not going to sign the bill. And in this case, they're filibustering. There. Kaora. Anyway, except we'll say Maori get a lot more privilege than what you mentioned. Yeah. No, it's read the super chat. You gave me a super chat and I missed it. I did read it. I said that total Sora unaliving. I did read it. And thank you for it. California is still counting votes until the next election. I saw that. I saw that they declared the winner yesterday, and I was like, wow, how many weeks since the election was over? Like, what the fuck are they doing? It's probably going to be 2020. It's probably going to be 2034, and they're still going to count votes from this election. It's insane. You know what the Republicans should do? You're like, kamate, kaora, kaora. Tanaye tangata puhuru, huru. Eh? Is that it? I was looking at this, and I was absolutely bewildered. Look at this shit.
Police body camera video shows the moment Brittany Patterson was arrested for letting her 10-year-old son walk in.
So it's like child endangerment. It's like, Jesus Christ, what did she do? Listen to this horrible woman. Look what she did.
Brittany Patterson was arrested for letting her 10-year-old son walk into town by himself.
Goodness gracious. Walk by himself, 10 years old. Where was it? If it was San Francisco, then yes, it is child endangerment. In Chicago.
What am I under arrest for?
For reckless endangerment.
And how was I recklessly endangering my child?
We're not talking about it.
On October 30th, Patterson said she took one of her children to the doctor. In the meantime, her son, Soren, who since turned 11, decided to walk less than a mile into town from their home in rural Mineral Bluff, Georgia.
Oh my goodness, not in Georgia. The devil came to Georgia. Is that it? Oh, I see.
While out, Patterson got a call from the sheriff's department, worried that Soren was walking alone.
I wasn't concerned. I wasn't, panicking or concerned because it's just a short walk from our house. He knows how to get home. He knows how to get there.
Authorities dropped Soren off at home, and 5 hours later, they returned.
Call mommy and tell them they're taking you to jail because you decided to walk down the street.
Let go of your hands.
That's not his fault.
Yeah, call mommy.
You're the mother. That's your responsibility.
Is this okay, Dev? Can people get outraged over this? Or does it need to be a squirrel? Like, how much government overreach do you need until you may be like, okay, maybe we need to shrink back government overreach a little bit? Like, basically, they're arresting a woman for allowing her son at 10 years old to walk around. I was walking around at 8. I'm just saying, Now, surely, yeah, like, bad things can happen. Yeah, but like, freedom is chaos. I get it. People do want a little bit of chaos. If you want too much freedom, you get a maximum security prison. God damn it, I hate the managerial class. It's like you're not allowed to live your life. It's like everything is what's permissible. Everything is a queue. Everything has to be in a stamp. The entire way of life has to be dictated by the managerial class. It's not what you can do, but what you're allowed to do. And what you're allowed to do becomes more and more narrow. Fucking hell. Seriously, like, if you're defending this, I will just say this. If you're defending this, you're basically suggesting that half of my parents' generation should be in prison. We don't have enough prisons. Like, you'd have to actually start constructing more prison facilities to arrest all the people from my parents' generation because we have a lot more freedom than that kid. Yeah, it's like the kid chose to do it, yeah. They do it so that parents must walk on eggshells and always look at the government for how to raise their kids. Yeah, pretty much. And like, no one would think that it's illegal. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, no one would say, oh, if I let my kid walk 10 miles in town, in a rural town, during the day, that's child endangerment and I'll get that. Like, no one thinks like that. No one would consider that. But the thing is, like, let's assume that it would be dangerous to let your kid walk. Well, that would be the fault of the government, wouldn't it? Because the government is supposed to make sure that the streets are safe. So yes, even a 10-year-old kid should be able to walk alone in town. Like, we're not talking about the middle of the forest. We're not talking about the jungle. We're not talking about the desert, right? No, in town. In a rural community, yes, I think that 10-year-old should be able to walk alone without being in danger. What if the kid identifies as being 16? Still a minor. This family homeschooled their kids. I wonder if that plays into it. Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think the cops would know that much. Like, usually this is a split moment decision, right? It's like, oh, we saw a kid that's alone. Do we arrest him or not? It's this culture of safetyism that absolutely makes me sick. Like, some safety is important, but like there needs to be a level where it's overboard and overbearing. Like everyone needs parents, right? When they're growing up, and it's important for your parents to be somewhat strict so that you can't do whatever you want, but at the same time you don't want helicopter parents, you don't want overbearing parents. And this is like, people like Dev don't get it. It's like there needs to be a balance between what's acceptable and what isn't. And it's like, well, what is the balance? Well, it's common fucking sense, when you go into someone's house with 2 departments to murder a squirrel, I think that's a little bit overboard. Just a little bit. When you go and you arrest a mother for having her kid go to town and coming back, I think that's a little bit too much. Just a little bit. When I was young and still lived in Russia, my parents most of the time didn't know what I was doing and where I was. Yeah, same with me. This was actually normal in my country as well. And by the way, I don't know a single friend of mine that passed away or got kidnapped or abducted or anything like that. Because even at that age, we had this thing called common sense. But I think like this is what Americans don't trust people with, common sense. This is probably another reason why people are being enraged by this type of culture. It's because they treat you as if you're a moron. As if every single person, every single adult is a moron. And without the government, they would just die. The entire squirrel raid was planned, and the death was also the goal. Yeah, no, I talked about this at length, because I even had, like, some people question me. It's like, V, you're a doctor. Do you not know the pestilence that squirrels can bring? And it's like, yes, I'm a doctor, but I'm also a citizen. And I gotta, like what is the risk that one squirrel is going to cause a pandemic versus the message you're sending when the government enters someone's house? And then you can even ask the question, was there, like let's assume that that squirrel was capable of causing the zombie outbreak, right? Was there no other way to handle the situation besides killing the animal? And the answer is that, of course there was. You could have just sent a citation to the guy, asked him to come to whatever office that the department was there, and then just talk with him. It's like, look, we understand that you love animals. We get the situation, but this is the law. Like, let's try to find some solutions in order to... Like, that would have been the normal way of handling it, like adults. But you're not adults. This is literally like mommy, which is the government, coming into your room and finding out that you got, a pet iguana or some shit that you brought from outside, and just taking it out from your room and throwing it outside. And then giving you a spanking as well. This is how the government is acting. I'm just, regarding Dev, if he's not going after firefighters, he goes after squirrel owners. Like, how long did... Okay, so, like, what is the list of things that can aggro Dev? Let's see, we got VTubers, right? Like, that was the first. Going after, like... And he goes after the wholesome VTubers. Like, he doesn't go after the lewd ones. No, he goes after the wholesome VTubers. Firefighters. Doesn't like firefighters that much. It enrages him. Maybe, like, he sees red. I don't know. And finally, squirrel owners. Oh, God. No, the firefighter falls under the innocent Trump supporters. Matt, can you imagine if Kamala would have won? Just close your eyes and imagine the smugness. Close your eyes and imagine the smugness. Here's the interesting part. I heard that there may actually be malarkey this election. That the machine... And I was talking this with the leftist, by the way. So the leftist was telling me that Elon Musk may have helped Trump win the election by cheating. And I'm like, how? Well, the machines were connected to Starlink, and if they're connected to Starlink, then malarkey could have happened. And I told that left and said, you know what? I'll even give you that. Let's say that what you're saying is 100% true. Like, let's assume that you even have evidence to prove that this is the case. How are you going to convince the public? Because, like, you need to undo 4 years of Democrat propaganda. Because for the last 4 years, we've been told that the machines are safe and effective, that nothing can be done, that they're not even connected to the internet. You told people that it's not just like this. Hold on, let me think about the talking point. So it's the safest elections. Machines aren't connected to the internet. Oh yeah, you used the censorship on social media. You used censorship to ban people from talking about it. Like, imagine if Elon Musk now, and he could do that if he wanted to. Imagine if Elon Musk would have done what YouTube did 4 years ago and just banned people denying the election results. Like, would that make him look more guilty or less? Right? No, seriously, imagine if Elon Musk would just ban anyone that suggests that Starlink was used in any way to interfere with the US elections. Because this is what they did, right? So anyway, I was telling him, it's like, look, if they were to even come out with this public, let's assume that it did happen, no one would believe it. Like, you can't spend 4 years delegitimizing any type of concern or criticism to the system and then expect people to be like, oh, well, now that it happened to you, sure. And the solution is exactly what Kurgan said, and this is what I told the leftists. It's like, the only solution and the correct way forward would be that Americans actually go to stamp and paper. Like, you did vote this way before the machines were invented. And if you go to stamp and paper and showing ID when you vote, I think like everyone would agree with that. But for some reason you don't want to. I find that very interesting. Yeah. And I'm still not clear.
Anytime I checked, it wasn't.
Would be connected to the internet. In fact, I generally don't get the voting machines at all. Like, I'm pretty sure it does make some sense, and someone can actually explain to me how it works. But what really baffles my brain is that shouldn't they be like money counting machines? You know, like you put $1,000 and the machine goes brrr, and then it just tells you how much, right? Why isn't it like that? Why does it need software and internet connections and like I'm sure there's an explanation for it. I'm not saying there's not. It's just like it's really weird. I'm struggling to understand. The data would be encrypted? What does that have to do with it? Like, if I go to the bank and I have like a big stack of money, right? Like, I have a brick filled with cash. Like, they put it in a money counter and it goes and that's it, right? Like, why can't the voting machines do that? Anyway, Germany. Germany apparently wants to ban the AfD. The interesting thing is that the European Union gets to lecture Turkey, they get to lecture Russia about dictatorships and totalitarian. How can you complain that Putin is assassinating its political opponents when your country is planning on making, before an election, before a snap election, they're planning on making their second largest party illegal? And just so you know, it's like, oh, to preserve democracy, to preserve human rights. Okay, this just in from Germany. German pensioner house raided by police for calling Green Minister Robert Herbeck a Schwachkopf, an imbecile, in a meme. Habeck himself had filed a criminal complaint. So basically, in Germany, if you insult a politician, you get the police to descend upon you. Is this a free society? Is this like how it used to be in the West? Or is it something more recent? Like this, you know, if you did this in the Soviet Union, yeah, sure. If you insulted Stalin, if you insulted Ceausescu, if you insult, like, yeah, in a dictatorship, if you insult the dictator, you get into trouble. But should it happen in a normal society? Like, should you not be able to insult a politician? Well, apparently not. And this is, there's no concern there. There's no extremism. There's no human rights violations. Like, no. This is perfectly normal, right? But the AFD, oh. Yeah, democracy, no, I like that. Schwarzkopf means blackhead. Just so you know why that shampoo brand is Schwarzkopf. Imbecile isn't even a blue insult. But to be honest, like, I don't care what the insult is. Like, at worst, if you have, like, some laws that are, you know, protecting people from slander and libel, it should be like a private affair between the two citizens. And they, you know, like, the politician should sue because, like, it brought a slight to his honor or something. But even that would be ridiculous. It's like, look, a politician not only gets paid an obscene amount of wealth, but on top of it all, they also get to make legislation that actually affects people's lives. Like, through their job, they can make someone's life a lot harder, a lot more difficult than it has to be. And apparently, you're not allowed to insult them. So, like, they can actually pass legislation that fucks up with your life, but you can't say anything negative about them. It's like, I'm sorry, that's not a free society. Blackface is the worst insult in Germany, is it? It's Schwachkopf. Yeah, well, the translation is that they called him an idiot. But again, it doesn't really matter what you called them. Like, you should be able to insult politicians as much as you want. And by the way, like, they usually try to make it the same, like, insulting with calls for violence. It's like, no, I'm sorry. But hold on a little bit. You know, like, they insult Trump all the time. Or you know, it's going to be like that joke that people used to tell under communism. It's like a communist politician meets with an American citizen. And the American citizen is trying to argue why capitalism is better. And he's like, well, you know, like, here, we can say whatever we want. We can talk about whatever we want. Like, we can insult the U.S. military. We can insult the U.S. president. We can insult the U.S. government. And we can even insult the American way of life. We have freedom. To which the communist says, well, that's funny, Tovarishch, because here it means we have freedom as well. We too can insult the American president, the American military, the American way of life. Right? I mean, holy shit, there are so many jokes from communism that can be applied to Germany right now. It's not even funny. Two dogs meet at the Berlin Wall. And one of the dogs from Western Germany is really thin. Like, you can see his bones. He's not doing very well. He's incredibly thin. The other dog from East Germany is incredibly fat. Like, he's well cared of. He's groomed. And the dog from East Germany tells to the dog, like, mocks the one from West Germany. And says, like, look, here, the party takes care of me. I can eat as much as I want. I can have access to everything I want. To which the dog from West Germany says, yeah, but here on this side of the fence, I can bark. You know, like, you have, like, all of these powerful jokes and things that came from the Soviet Union, which can literally be applied to Germany today. It's like, yeah, sure, you know, you have economic prosperity, but at least here we can speak our mind. Is deliberate conflating? I see. Look, I don't speak German. But I did mention they called him an idiot, so. You had that one in Poland too? This side of the fence, I can't. Oh my god. If Schwarz means black, what does Schwarzenegger mean? Holy shit, you're right. Hold on, let me check. I'll ask Grok. So if Schwarz means black, what does Schwarzenegger mean? Well, it does not direct to the word black. Instead, Schwarzenegger has a compilation of elements. Schwarzenegg can mean black ridge or black edge. And is the suffix surname indicating that the origin of association. So it can mean the black ridge. There we go. The black ridge. I didn't know that. It's interesting. Yeah. Apparently someone made the video claiming that the allegations against MrBeast were false. And I'm like, wow, imagine my shock. I don't think that the allegation against Chris are false, though. But Chris did get fired. And also, it depends, like, how much of a moral outrage you're allowed to suffer, you know? Because, like, some of the allegations, again, weren't that bad, but they add up over the years, you know? Yeah, Arnie, screw your freedoms. I absolutely love that take. For a Republican senator, Republican governor to come up and say screw your freedoms. Wow. It's a really strong and healthy mindset to have. And then, like, before promoting a documentary or whatever he was in, he's like, you know what? I feel so bad for saying this. Feel so bad. Which allegations? I don't even fucking know. There were so many of them that I genuinely, like, do not know which ones they were referring to. But there's a YouTube video that says that all the allegations are false and it's trending right now. So apparently, I'm looking at the comment section. It's a good job debunking the allegations. Okay. Chat, if you wanted to have sex with Whoopi Goldberg, I have bad news for you. Even if you would have been capable of seducing her and making her into your beautiful waifu, ever since Donald Trump won, she is on a sex strike. So, just putting it out there because I found it in the news and I think it's newsworthy. But yes, Whoopi Goldberg is going to have abstinence. She's going to go on a sex strike in order to protest Trump's win. Now, I don't know Whoopi Goldberg's private life. I genuinely do not know, like, how her life, like, does she have a husband? Does she have a significant other? Did he vote Republican? Is he being punished for what you did? Like, that would be fascinating, right? Like, if she actually has a significant other. I want you to realize that is a wig. Holy shit, that is a wig. Now that I'm looking at the picture zoomed in, it is a wig. But I want you to imagine this, right? Imagine that you have a situation where Whoopi Goldberg has a significant other. And when you went to vote for Donald Trump, you ruined their relationship. Like, you voted so another man won't have sex. Like, this is what you did. You voted so a liberal cock isn't going to have sex. What is the moral here? Like, what exactly are we supposed to get from this? How is this punishing anyone? Okay. The way I can imagine this, imagine like one of the most unappealing men you can possibly think of. You know, like a 45-year-old incel. He's morbidly obese. He's got like pimples and everything like that. And he goes into a room where you have like members of a sorority, right? Like the hottest women on campus. And he goes into that room and goes like, well, ladies, since you voted for Kamala, I have decided that I won't have sex with any of you from now on. Like, the women would say, like, I don't think that's up to you. It's not that they will rape him. It's just like, no matter what he says, he will still never get laid. It's not up to him to get. It's up to other people to, and no one will accept. So when I see ladies like Whoopi Goldberg, who are obviously in their prime, and they're like they're a goddess of fertility and radiating with how should I put this, sex appeal, and they're a symbol of femininity, right? And they're telling other men that they decided to go on a sex strike. Yes, I'm pretty sure that men are going to look at their poster with Whoopi Goldberg and be like, oh no, how will we cope? How will we deal with this revelation? I looked it up. She's currently single. She was married 3 times ago. It's going to be very difficult for her to maintain her abstinence then. It's going to be very difficult for her. Like, I will ask her. Like, if I was at The View, I would ask her, like, every year or so, like, so Whoopi, is it not difficult? I mean, how long has the abstinence been going? Like, do you not have any urges at all? Do you not have any desires? I mean, you're a lady in your prime. How are you managing to keep your loins in check? God. I'm willing to bet that people would be upset if you criticize her like this, but it's like, no one wants to criticize you. But when you make statements like that in public, you gotta get some backlash. Like, you gotta get a little bit of criticism, don't you? Isn't it fair? Like, if you say dumb things in public, like, surely you can expect people to just criticize you for it. Has hackbaxing science gone too far? Maybe, what they say when they're talking about representation and how it's important to show, like, average women in video games and movies in order to change standards of beauty. Maybe it actually works. Maybe she thinks that the standards of beauty have been changed and she is quite a catch, and she's going to actually show it to those evil right-wingers that all of them obviously wanted a partner like Whoopi Goldberg. And she's going to show them for voting for Donald Trump. She sure showed them. If a man did this, he would have been mocked just the same. Like, this is the difference in culture, right? Like, when a woman does it, you're not supposed to make fun of it. But I guarantee to you, if you had, like, someone like Darkside Phil or any other content creator just, say that, okay, well, because Kamala won, I won't have sex with women, they would be mocked. Viciously so. Do we have time to talk about the Twitch apocalypse or the people departing Twitter and announcing their departure? No, we don't. But what we do have time is to show something that I found interesting. If you actually go and you pick up old commercials or old video games and you show them on Twitter, there are people with pronouns in the bio that think it's pornography. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, let's see the scene.
I still don't see how Thailand is connected to Vikings or ruins under the meta. Hell, even Avalon for that matter.
Helheim's it. Various myths use different names, but they all apply to the same remnants of the ancient world.
One of those remnants is still alive. I would hate to be Amanda if Natla ever gets free. I would hate to be any of us.
Though they will be like, well, what? Why does she have to be? Why does she need to look? But why does she have to? If you have to ask that question, you're probably not straight. Like, every single straight heteronormative man has some mild level of simping in their brain that it seems you lack. The reason she has to look like this is because it's how the game rewards you for progression. The game was fucking hard. Like, I remember it. No pun intended. It was actually very difficult. And when you reach the cutscene and you get to see Lara in the swimsuit, it actually feels like a fan service. It's how you reward the lizard brain. It's good for business. You make money. Look, you don't have to understand it. Just take my word for it, right? And this is not pornography. You cannot have pornography by yourself, right? This is just a woman in a bathing suit. And if she was fat, if she was Lizzo, you'd be fine with it. If she was Lizzo, you wouldn't think it's porn. If it was a man in a wig, you'd also be fine with it. But for some fucking reason, she actually decided to do the worst thing imaginable, and she worked out. And now she has like a body of an Olympic athlete, and that horrifies you because it makes you feel insecure. This is like the most people that are complaining are people that feel insecure because of femininity. Whether because they're beta men that think they will never have a girl like this and it's intimidating. Whether it's other women that like feel that men will ignore them for pixels on the screen. Really good mindset to have, by the way. Or it's because like some people that are trying to achieve a level of femininity using various cosmetics and medical surgeries, and it's still not at this level, and because of that it makes them feel insecure. So the people that are insecure, they have to make Lara look like this in order to achieve some level of security, which is absolutely pathetic. You know, they will call you a cougar to be pathetic. The reality is that most straight men can empathize with another guy looking at this and saying it's cool. However, you're basically saying that this actually threatens you, it makes you uncomfortable, so you're making it look like this. And then you wonder why people are cheering when your gaming company goes out of a business. And no one buys that shit. Yeah, no, like they keep talking about appropriate clothing, right? Like they will complain. It's like, why is a woman fighting in high heels? Oh, no, why is this? But then when you have a woman that actually goes diving or swimming and she's in a swimming suit, that's still inappropriate. Shut the fuck up. Well, the thing is, like, they don't really mind. Again, right? It's not the costume that they hate. Like, notice that it's not the clothing that they dislike now. Because the clothing is similar. Like, it's literally the same clothing. What they dislike is the feminine form. Like, they actually hate femininity. It's not about clothing or dressing up or covering anymore. It's literally about showing feminine features. So, notice how the face is changed, right? Like she gets a more puffy face. The jawline is changed. The shoulders, they look more masculine now. Like, larger shoulders, like bigger bulk size, right? Even the facial expression. Like this is sensual. This is like how a woman would look. And this is like more of a manly gaze. This is like how a man sees something that disgusts them. It's like the resting bitch face as well. Like this face shows like a person. Holy shit, you know, like I'm looking at this. If you actually remove the wig, it does look like a man. Like she has been masculinized. It's not about like, oh, we're going to change her clothing. No, the clothing is still there. Like, they're still showing skin. But like, they're doing their best in order to make her look as masculine as possible. They despise femininity. That's the problem. Like, no cleavage, cover the belly button, like, even though no one would want to see it. Like, if you look like this and you're showing cleavage, it's still ew. Like, brother, ew. Legs are being made more muscular and fat. Hip to waist ratio, also out of proportion. And again, this is not accidental. Like, this is not, you know, a Tumblr artist doing his interpretation. No, this is done by a team of people with consultants. Like, this is the main character in a AAA production. They have at least 20, if not 30 individuals that are sitting on this, making sure that the concept art is accurate, making sure that everything is going to be the way they wanted it to be. And this is what they create. And then you have an army of people on Twitter that will attack you if you don't like this. And it's like, well, I'm sorry if I don't want to pay money to see men in wigs. I'm sorry if you have a problem with this, but it's reality. And they're really upset about it. It's like, how dare you not pay money to see men with wigs? And they will call you a coomer. And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, I can find pictures. I can still play this game. I can still mod it to make it look like this. It's not about cooming. It's about the subversive nature of your ideology, and this is why it pisses you off, right? Because you think that femininity is problematic, you don't like femininity, and if you think that if you put this in every single video game, in every single TV show, then people are going to start thinking that this is femininity. And when people are rejecting it, they're giving you the middle finger, you're horrified because this is the best your academia came up with. Like, this is the best thing that your university professors came up with how to erase femininity. and it doesn't work. The woke are on the back foot. Time to press our advantage so that eventually companies are avoiding even a hint of the woke in the progress. The good thing is that this is happening naturally. Like you don't need any sort of organized boycott. You don't need anything, you know, like even if they got rid of all the YouTubers, you don't need to figure out that, okay, this sells, this doesn't sell. Like people just don't want to buy this. And let me show you what else they did, right? Like here's an example, because it's everywhere. And the worst thing is like when they come up with bullshit lore reasons to make it happen. So this is Poison Ivy, right? Like Poison Ivy is canonically supposed to be sexy because that's the shtick, is the femme fatale, right? Like the whole idea is that she's really hot, but she's also deadly. And her whole ability is to control men. And even in this picture, she's toned down, right? Like, I've seen Poison Ivy look a lot more appealing than this. But, like, okay, fine. This is what they used to. And this is what they did to Poison Ivy. They made her into a child. And then they have Harley Quinn flirt with the child, making it incredibly uncomfortable and very disturbing. But, like, why on earth would you do this to this character, right? And it's because, well, you want to desexualize. Why would you want to desexualize Poison Ivy? Like, they had to get a team of writers to figure out, like, how do we desexualize Poison Ivy? And they came up, well, we're going to make her into a child. And then you're going to have Harley Quinn flirt with her. It's just, what are they doing? What, you know, instead of, like, finding lore reasons to figure out how to make her more hot, more appealing, you're finding out how to make it, like, incredibly disturbing and creepy. And also, they made her look like Greta Thunberg. This is, like, just an extra. An extra slap on the face, yeah. It's related to the Harley Quinn show, which is a prequel to the Velma show. It's so fucking weird. It's like, okay, let's what is the name of the chick that plays in Hunger Games? The one with the bow, right? It's like finding a chick that's incredibly hot and appealing, and she's got sex appeal going, and you make her into a child. Like, why? What were the writers thinking? Makes no fucking sense. No, I wouldn't even say it's about pedophilia here. Like, no, I don't think that was the intention. I think the intention was to get men to not oogle at Poison Ivy, right? So, like, they needed to find a way to do it. And I guess, like, there were two ways. Either make her old or make her really young. To make it impossible. Like, this is what they do. They're fighting the male gaze, right? So, like, they want it to be impossible for the male gaze to appreciate it. So it's like, okay, we're going to make her really young, and then the male gaze is going to not work, right? Because, like, we can't do anything because, like, it's in the ethos of the character. Like, the character is designed by the very nature of its abilities to be sexually pleasing. So, like, we need to make it in a way that men won't like it, and that's what they went with. They got their writer team to think about it. That's what I think actually happened in that meeting room. Anyway. Apparently, the reason that Harley is flirting with Poison Ivy is because, and this is like what I got from one of the people working within the company. They said that the writing was written before the consultants. So, like, initially, Poison Ivy was supposed to be hot, but the consultants made her look like Greta Thunberg. So, like, the writing remained, and now it didn't hit, and it was actually really cringe and dystopian after the change that they made. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because it's a rumor, but it sounds plausible. Yeah, I know, Poison Ivy's power comes from her being attractive, but, like, now they're also making it that she's, like... They keep upping the power, because, like, the original Poison Ivy wasn't able to control plants the way that the current one does, right? And now she's more like a D&D druid. Like, actually, she's probably more powerful than a D&D druid. She can just literally, like, summon plants from everywhere, and they're just, like... So, yeah, like, her power of sex appeal isn't dead anymore, which is kind of sad, because, like, it actually made her a lot more interesting if she's, like, okay, she doesn't have superpowers. I mean, yeah, sure, she can grow carnivorous plants and shit, but it takes time. And, like, she can have, like, her hideout where she's got, like, these monstrous plants. But, like, she wasn't to the point where she can fight Uchiha Madara, you know? But now she's at that level. That now she has, like, her own Bloom Emergence spell. And then she can just cast jutsus that would impress even Naruto. But back then, she was, like, a lot more restrained in her supernatural power. And her whole thing was that she was able to seduce men. So, like, no man was able to resist her seduction. And then she could use men in order to achieve her desires, or she could just seduce men and kill them with a kiss. And that was a lot more cool. But anyway, right, it is what it is. I think, like, it's got to do with the time when feminism was in vogue, and, like, every single female character had to be insanely capable at everything. So, like, they took the aspect, it's like, yeah, she does grow, like, some weird plant shit, but, like, let's make it so that she's at Uchiha Madara level. Let's make it so that she's, like, Druid level 30, yeah. And she can just, like, create an entire jungle from the ground by snapping her fingers. And you get, like, vines that, like, twist and turn and whip people into shape. And it's like, yeah, okay. No, she doesn't ask you to press X to consent. You're pressing X automatically. Yeah, it's also like, I notice how in comic books lately, they keep trying to make all the villains into anti-villains and then heroes. Like they just don't understand that people can like a villain, right? Like Homelander. I wouldn't want Homelander to become a good guy, because you're ruining the character. But in comic books, they do this all the time with women, especially, right? So, for instance, you have Catwoman, and she's a villain, but now she's becoming good and she's a hero. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's one off. But then you have Harley Quinn. Like, Harley Quinn is a villain, but now she's becoming an anti-hero, and now she's a full hero. And it's like, all right, fine. Okay, like, two of them. And then they're doing it with this chick, with Poison Ivy. And they keep doing it, and it's like, you're going to run out of female villains at this point. Like, you're basically saying you can't have a sexy female villain. That's just it. It's a sexy female villain. There's no deeper meaning to it. There's no, it's like just a woman that has superpowers and she does evil shit. And she's hot. Just leave it at that. No, it's not. As a girl who doesn't play games, it seems like the majority male once United Gamers Rift continues, as Zetsi portion continues to clash with the incumbent vision. Yeah, that's pretty much correct, Lokiko. All women are inherently good and innocent. It's no. They're not even making women that are good and innocent. They're making women that behave in horrifyingly atrocious, disgusting, disturbing ways, and you need to like them for it. Like, for instance, the writers of Captain Marvel, they have a scene where, like, someone insults Captain Marvel, and in exchange, she breaks his arm and steals his bike. And I'm like, while I agree that you shouldn't insult people, and sexism bad, I think, like, the answer to that makes her look like the villain, but the writers just don't understand that. The writers think that anything that they do, just because it's a female character, is automatically going to be viewed as positive. And there's like, I actually tried to watch, what is it? The Harley Quinn show. And the thing that really bugs me is that there was like this character, Kite Man. And Kite Man really liked Poison Ivy. And Kite Man is like a good guy in the sense, not that he's like a nice guy. No, he's like doing literally everything that a man should do. He protects Poison Ivy, even though like she's fighting people that are stronger than him. So like he's got courage. He's smart, comes up with like various interesting ways for their plans to work. Like he is written as a very competent man, and he's also charismatic. He's good spirited. Like if he was a dad, he would be the world's best dad, right? So like, hold on, let me show you Kite Man. So again, in Harley Quinn, you have like this character, and at the beginning, like he's treated as goofy, but then as the character goes on, you realize that he's actually, I can't say like a perfect gel, but like he's a perfect man. Like his body is good looking, right? Like he's not morbidly obese or anything like that. He's good natured, like his heart is in the right place. He's courageous, he's brave, he's confident. He's willing to risk himself in order to save the ones he loves. Like there is not a single flaw that I found in this character, not a single one. And he seduces Poison Ivy, they go out on dates, and then she dumps him to be with Harley Quinn. And this is considered empowering. And this is from the mindset of people that believe representation matters and seeing yourself on the screen matters, right? So what message are you telling to the boys that are watching the show? The message that you're telling them is that nothing you do will be enough. That you're going to be treated like shit. You don't deserve to have a happy ending. You don't deserve to have a significant other. You should be like the Kens in the Barbie movie. Like the Kens are these homeless people with no shirt that are just moving around, and their whole purpose in life is to make Barbie happy. And once Barbie gets bored, she just goes for a different Ken. Like this is what you're telling young boys. It's very sad and disturbing when you think about it, because, you know, like I can just watch it as a comedy show and not look into it. But I know that the people who make this, they do look into it. And they do know these themes, and they're doing it on purpose. And it's so fucking vile, and it's so fucking disgusting, more than any other part of the ideology, right? You do not ever have, like, the perfect role model of a man. It's like, okay, this is the type of man you need to be if you want to achieve happiness. And for most men, happiness is getting a family, having kids, and providing for that family. That's it. It's not rocket science, and it's not sex. They think that for a man to get happiness is to have sex. No. Like that's not part of it. That's just a part of it, right? Because any human being wants to have sex. But like, if a man just goes around and have sex with women, that's not happiness. Happiness is when they start a family, feel that they're needed, and are able to protect that family. And honestly, like, this guy could have been the best father in the world. Like, there is no way you can ask for a better dad than this guy. So there is no reason why Poison Ivy should have dumped him. And the writers didn't even bother, like, making some powerful drama, like him fucking up, him cheating on Poison Ivy or something like that. They didn't even bother to do that. It's like, no, she got bored with him. It's like, okay, fucking disgusting. In China, is the opposite now. Well, you know, like, look at the position in his left hand. No, I get it. It's just like the picture that I picked. It's the frame. But, like, normally he appears like this, right? And it's like the whole hookup culture. Like, this is the future they view for humanity, right? Where people just meet up, have sex for their own pleasure. There's no purpose to it. There's no finality. There's no long-term goal, like starting a family. And there's no question, like, what do you do when you're old? You know, this is the problem. Because they keep asking, like, what's wrong? Okay, so what's wrong if people just casually hook up and have sex? And it's like, okay, well, you do that when you're young, right? But what do you do when you're this age? When you're like this? And you can barely move around, and there's no one to take care of you, and you have no one to come up for the Christmas dinner, and you feel lonely, you have no one to talk to. Who's going to take care of you? Are you going to still keep dating? Remember what Arch reviewed what they did to Nora Freeze, the woman Freeze sacrificed his life for. She went on a train spree. Oh my god. Anyway, right. Gonna go work on my other channels now. So thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you later.